Very good afternoon and welcome to today's edition of Lunchtime News here on TV1. You're joining me, Debbie Paldano. Now, before we head into your stories in more detail, let's first take a look at headlines this afternoon.
SLPP MP Jayantha Katagoda resigned from Parliament, paving the way for Basil Rajapaksa's entry. Trade union actions of supplementary and intermediary trade unions continue. Pfizer vaccine to be given as a second dose of the AstraZeneca vaccine. License issued to WM Mendes and Company Limited cancelled on the instructions of the President.
Now taking a look at one of your headline-making stories. Sri Lanka Podujana Peramana MP Jayantha Katagoda has submitted his letter of resignation to step down as a Member of Parliament to the Secretary-General of Parliament. Jayantha Katagoda expressed the following views regarding his resignation.
Sri Lanka Parliament
I handed my resignation to the Secretary-General of Parliament. I happily resigned and provided the seat to Basil Rajapaksa for our party and the country for its future course of action. Further steps will be carried out by this afternoon.
Activities at hospitals were disrupted for the second day today due to the trade union action staged by 15 trade unions attached to the health sector.
The trade union actions are staged by 15 supplementary and intermediary trade unions attached to the health sector. Trade unions representing radiologists, pharmacists, physiotherapists as well as public health inspectors are among the 15 trade unions staging the strike. The Joint Council of Professions Supplementary to Medicine demands that they too should be included in the Gazette notification that is to be issued as a solution to the trade union action launched by the nurses' trade unions. Due to the trade union action, patients who came to get medicine faced difficulties. However, our correspondent stated that there was a decrease in the number of people visiting hospitals today compared to yesterday.
හැමදාම ස්ට්‍රයික් නේ මේගොල්ලෝ කරන්නේ. ගම්පහ ඉඳලා මේ පාන්දර ඇවිල්ලා ඉන්නේ. කන්නේ බොන්නේ නැතුව මේ එන්නේ. ඉතින් බලන්නකො කොච්චර එක මේ කොලයක් හරි අලවල තියන්න ඕනේ නේ නා අපි ආපහු යනවා ආපු වාහනේ.
ඩේට් ගන්න නැහැ. මේ ස්ට්‍රයික් කිව්වා.
කෙනෙක් කලන්ත දාලා තියෙනවා දැන් ටිකට ඉස්සෙල්ලා රෝගීන් බොහොම අපහසුතාවයකට ලක් වෙලා ඉන්නේ මේ වෙලාවේ.
ලේ රිපෝට් පහක් ගන්න තියෙනවා. දැන් කිව්වා එක එක ස්ටයිල් තියෙනවා කියලා නිවුස් බලලා එන්න කියලා.
මෙහෙම වර්ජනය කරන එක අසාධාරණයි මේ වෙලාවේ.
නතර වෙන්න ආවේ මහත්තයා මට කැන්සර් එකක් තියෙන්නේ. වණ්ඩ බොන්න මේ මාසික කමාරකින් තවවත් ඇතුළට ගත්තේ නැහැ.
රෝහල් කාර්ය මණ්ඩලයෙන් තමයි වැඩම හරිම හවුත්තුයි. එහෙම කරන්න හොඳ නැහැ මේ කොරෝනා ආස්සේ මෙහෙම ස්ට්‍රයික් කරන්න නරකයි නේද? මේවා රටට කියන්න ඕන.
මේ හෙද වර්ජන පිළිබඳව සහ මේ හෙද නිලධාරීන්ගේ ඉල්ලීම් සම්බන්ධයෙන් විසඳුමක් දෙන්න ඊයේ කැබිනට් මණ්ඩලයේදී එකඟතාවකට පැමිණුණාද කියලා දැනගන්න කැමතියි.
හෙද නිලධාරීන්ගේ ඉල්ලීම්
The demand of the Nurses Health Union was brought to the attention of the cabinet yesterday. His Excellency the President has promised to solve the issue by doing justice to all trade professionals. The epistle containing all facts pertaining to the matter will be issued in the future.
ඉදිරි නිශ්චිත කරුණු කාරණා ඇතුළත්ව ඉදිරියේදී එම සංදේශ නිකුත් වෙයි.
මේ හෙද නිලධාරීන්ගේ ඉල්ලීම් ඉදිරිපත් කරොත් තවත් වෘත්තීය සමිති බලාපොරොත්තුෙන් ඉන්නවා ඕනොත් වෘත්තීය සමිති ක්‍රියාමාර්ග වලට යොමු වෙන්න. දැන් මේ තත්ත්වය ගැන අවධානය යොමු වුණාද ඊයේ කැබිනට් රැස්වීමේදී?
ඔව් අවධානය යොමු වුණා.
Yes, this was brought up. Hence, His Excellency the President said that these issues will be resolved by doing justice to all trade unions and all professionals.
මේ කටයුතු අවසන් කළ දෙන්නට එතුමන් කටයුතු කරමින් සිටිනවා.
Demonstrations organized by farmers over the fertilizer shortage continues today as well.
Close to 500 farming families cultivating vegetables including potatoes in Valimada, Udakandagolla are helpless without fertilizer. Today they took to the streets demanding the government to provide fertilizer for their crops.
The shortage of fertilizer has crippled the livelihoods of farmers across the country. Farmers point out that their cultivation has been dealt a killer blow due to this issue.
Farmers of Pulanuru Parakramasamudra Farmers Colony point out that more than 150 acres of paddy fields have turned barren due to the lack of fertilizer.
I received only.
Journalists point out that at a cabinet media briefing held today that there is a confusion in the Gazette notification issued regarding the ban on chemical fertilizer.
When importing organic fertilizer, we can see that certain components change at times. We will get a list of components required for organic fertilizer from agro-scientists and experts in the coming days.
දැනට නිකුත් කරලා තියෙන ගැසට් නිවේදනය ඒකට අවලංගු වීමක් සිද්ධ වෙනවද?
නිශ්චිතවම කාබනික සංඝටක An identification process of the components of organic fertilizer is being carried out. Its results will be issued in the near future. There could be inconveniences. We express our regret over that. However, payment of compensation and provisions to provide organic fertilizer to the public has begun. We responsibly state that we will provide the fertilizer required for the next cultivation season.
බව ඉතාම වගකීමෙන් ප්‍රකාශ කරනවා.
Meanwhile, the Women's for Rights organization held a protest today in the Ambalangoda town against the rising cost of living. The price of essential goods are increasing by the day. Price of consumer goods are also on the rise. Price of fuel is sky high. Against such a backdrop, the people are finding it difficult to survive amidst the COVID-19 pandemic. The economy has collapsed. Businesses have collapsed. The government that came into power promising free fertilizer won't even provide fertilizer on sale now. On behalf of the people of this country, we demand you to take into consideration the cost of living of the people.
After considering the amount of cultivation lands and the amount of fertilizer imported, I responsibly stated that there won't be a fertilizer shortage for the Yala season and that the required fertilizer will be given to the farmer. Everyone said that there is no fertilizer in the country. The fertilizer secretariat and fertilizer companies both informed us that there is no fertilizer. Therefore, the farmers did not get the fertilizer. And farmers did not get the fertilizer on time. Fertilizer companies kept 102,000 metric tons of fertilizer from the market. CIC had 21,000 metric tons. Bowers had 8,000 metric tons. Haley's had 28,000 metric tons. I will announce the amount of fertilizer the companies have in Parliament. They did not follow our advice. We informed the companies that fertilizer must be given to the farmers within a week. Therefore, the farmers in the country won't face a shortage of fertilizer within the next 4 months. We have given the advice. There was a protest in Bakamuna, but fertilizer was distributed in Bakamuna. Fertilizer was distributed in Aranagangvilla, 100%. Provincial councillors and MP Kings Nelson engaged in a protest. I went to Madirigiri, Batikalo. Fertilizer has been distributed in most of these areas. Farmers say that they cannot purchase more fertilizer after receiving fertilizer concessions.
On the instructions of the President, the Cabinet of Ministers yesterday decided to revoke the license issued to WM Mendes and Company Limited, owned by Arjuna Aloysius, to recommence operations. Earlier, the Excise Department granted permission to liquor manufacturer WM Mendes and Company Limited to resume operations after it agreed to settle all of its tax arrears. It was earlier reported that WM Mendes and Company Limited, owned by Arjuna Aloysius, who is one of the main accused in the infamous Central Bank Treasury bond scam, had agreed to settle its tax arrears in installments and to pay scheduled taxes every 15 days.
Central Bank Secretary S.R. Atigala has informed the Commissioner General of the Excise Department last week to allow Arjuna Aloysius to commence his liquor production. There are ethical means and unethical means. Minister, as a person who follows ethical means, why is the license being cancelled after it is issued? It is the same government, same officials.
After agreeing to pay the payable taxes, the relevant parties permitted to carry out their production activities. However, the President and the Cabinet said that due to the history of these factions involving a financial scam, we could not justify the commencement of their production activities. That is why the cabinet requested for their license to be revoked. The Ministry of Finance advised the cabinet on the matter.
කැබිනට් මණ්ඩල යෝජනාවක් නෙවෙයි ඒක මුදල් අමාත්‍යාංශයට උපදෙස් ලබා දීමක් සිදු වුණා.
Speaking in Parliament today, Speaker Mahinda Yapa Abewardena has announced that the Supreme Court determination highlights that certain sentences of the COVID-19 Control Act are unconstitutional.
The court order given by the three-judge bench regarding the coronavirus disease 2019 COVID-19 temporary provisions bill, which was challenged before the Supreme Court, has been released. Two of the three judges are of the opinion that this can be passed with a simple majority subject to amendments.
84 වගන්තිය ප්‍රකාර විශේෂ බහුතර ඡන්දයෙන් සම්මත කිරීමට අවශ්‍ය වේ. ශ්‍රේෂ්ඨාධිකරණය ඉදිරිපත් කර ඇති යෝජිත සංශෝධනයට අනුව අදාළ සංශෝධනය සිදු කරන්නේ නම් ඉහත වගන්තියේ එම අනනුකූලතාවය ඉවත්ව යනු බැවින් පනත් කෙතුම්පත පාර්ලිමේන්තුවේ සරල බහුතරයකින් සම්මත කළ හැකිය.
How will the inoculation program be carried out today?
The administration of Pfizer as the second dose for those above the age of 55 who received the AstraZeneca as the first dose will commence tomorrow. Army commander said residents of Colombo 1 to 15 will be given the vaccine. He added that dates and the locations of the inoculation program will be released via SMS.
Steps will be taken to distribute the 26,000 vials of the Pfizer vaccine that arrived in the country yesterday as the second dose to the residents of Colombo 1 to 15 above the age of 55 who received the AstraZeneca vaccine as the first dose from tomorrow. We will inform the general public about the dates and the location of the inoculation program through SMS messages. If you are a resident of Colombo 1 to 15 above the age of 55 and you received the AstraZeneca vaccine as the first dose, you can get vaccinated with the Pfizer vaccine tomorrow. The Sri Lanka Army will give the vaccine in the relevant locations.
Four Gram and Iladari divisions in the Jaffna, Mathura and Kalathura districts have been isolated with immediate effect. Eraur Gram and Iladari division in the Eraur police area of the Batikla district was released from isolation.
Students across the island are battered by the lack of infrastructure and mobile phone reception when receiving online education.
The students living in Polkotanarawa in Siabalandua are not able to carry out their online education because they do not have mobile phone reception there. While in an ideal situation, the children would have to focus on the material that they are following, here the students have to focus on seeking mobile phone reception to ensure that they can continue their online education. The students living in Galevadia, Bovitia, Ampitia and Pahatarawa share a similar fate.
අකුරු කරන්න සිග්නල් හොයන ළමුන්ට ඔන්ලයින් වෙහෙස නිවන ඔන් එයා පාඩම් මාලාව ගම්මැද්ද තක්සලාව සාමාන්‍ය පෙළ පහශිෂත පාඩම් සිංහල වගේම දෙමළ බසින් TV1 හා ශක්ති TV ඔස්සේ ඔබට පිළිගන්වන්නේ සතුටින්.
The Duchess of Cambridge, Kate Middleton, is self-isolating after her first contact with someone who had tested positive for COVID-19.
A spokesperson said, and I quote, Her Royal Highness is not experiencing any symptoms but is following all relevant government guidelines and is self-isolating at home, end quote. UK government guidelines stipulate that anyone who has had close contact with an infected person must isolate for 10 days. A royal source told foreign media that the Duchess took lateral flow tests before her engagements last week at the Euro 2020 football tournament and at Wimbledon, and both were negative. She also followed the rules throughout Wimbledon on mask wearing. The source said the Duchess is tested for COVID-19 twice a week with lateral flow tests, in line with the royal household's testing system. She has also received both doses of her COVID-19 vaccine.
And with that, we wrap up lunchtime news here on TV1. For more news, log on to our award-winning website, that is www.newsfirst.lk. For the Newsfirst team, I'm David Paldado. Take care.